When it comes to Super Smash Bros., people have lots of different reasons to justify different characters that they want to see in the game. I know right now there's this big hoopla going on for Waluigi, and I don't know if people realize that Wario is in the game and he's based more off of his WarioWare games. He has his own logo, he doesn't have the mushroom logo, and Waluigi is not a WarioWare character. Waluigi is a Mario character, and the fact that he's a Mario character is also kind of weird because he wasn't made by Nintendo. He was made by Camelot when they made the Mario Tennis game. And I mean, like, I understand why people like Waluigi because I like playing as Waluigi in almost all the Mario spin off games, but I don't need the entire Mario cast in Super Smash Bros. And I also don't think, well, I like playing as the guy because he's funny to me. I don't understand why people want him in Smash so bad. He's such an insignificant character. I just kind of like him in the Mario games because he's so odd. He's so weird. And I think people want that, but not realizing like Wario already kind of fulfills that role in Smash already with being a really weird guy. And plus, you can also find weird characters outside of Mario to enjoy in Smash. There's plenty of weird characters in Smash already. So the point is that Waluigi's a perfect assist trophy. He doesn't need to be anything more. Honestly, you should be happy and grateful he's even an assist trophy because he doesn't need to be one. I think it's really cool he is one, but you know, but let's talk about a character that's highly requested, highly requested, and there's a few ideas that people have for third-party characters, and some people are basing this off of like if characters are hot right now. Like Crash Bandicoot, for example, is hot right now because of the Insane Trilogy. And the funny thing about the Insane Trilogy was, like, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be on PS4 because these are three PS1 games that they're remastering, so they're going to put on PS4, which is cool. But Sony actually paid for a timed exclusive deal, which again, this is all like this makes sense. I don't think people are that offended because Crash Bandicoot's a Sony game, like back in the day, because Naughty Dog's a Sony studio. But now now it's Activision, it has nothing to do with Naughty Dog or any of that stuff. And Sony just kind of like got it to be a timed exclusive, which again, it makes sense. That's probably the best way to do it. But now it's coming out and everything, which means that Xbox fans who've been wanting to play Crash Bandicoot, or people who had Crash Bandicoot but they just don't own a current PS4, they have Xbox One instead now because people do that. It's coming to Xbox One, and I think it's coming to Steam. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to have a PC release as well. But it's also, most importantly, coming to Switch. Crash Bandicoot is going to be on the Switch, and that was kind of like how we learned that this was going to be coming to other consoles. It was just like announced during a Nintendo Direct that like, oh, never say the impossible is impossible because Crash Bandicoot's coming to Switch. And that's really cool. That's a really good game to play on the go, it feels like. I feel like I'd rather play a game on the go than play it on a console. So that's a really great idea. And so Crash is hot right now, and people kind of want him in Smash because Crash is so hot, and it's like, yeah, but I mean, when it comes to his moveset, what's he got besides flopping down on his belly and spinning around? Do we really need every single mascot character? I feel like people want certain characters just to fulfill certain roles and check boxes on a list. Reality is that like the reason why I wanted Sonic in Melee was because the rivalry between Mario and Sonic was the dream matchup that we all wanted forever. And Sonic wasn't like like Sega was first party, but now they became third party. And so Sonic was on the GameCube. The Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was like a launch title on the fucking GameCube. Almost every one of my friends who owns a GameCube owns Sonic Adventure 2 Battle because kids needed something to play when they got their GameCubes, and people would just buy them Sonic. And they all fell in love with Sonic Adventure 2 because Adventure 2 was a great game on the Dreamcast and it was a great game on the GameCube. So people were, really happy to play Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And so, like, when you were playing GameCube back then, you would play Sonic Adventure 2, and then you would play Smash Bros. Melee because that's like all there fucking was besides like Luigi's Mansion. And you wanted to see Mario and Sonic fight more than ever because you're playing those same game characters on the same damn console. It was something you really wanted to see, and you realized it was actually possible But I didn't think it would ever happen. I thought Nintendo would be pretty strict on third party support, but the sequel, they straight up put in Sonic and Snake, and that was a big deal. That was something that really generated hype for Brawl. And when Brawl first showed off, I was like jaw on the floor. I was like, this is going to be the greatest game ever. I saw the final smashes. I saw not just Sonic and Snake, but Wario was added in, and that was just blowing my mind. The fact they put Wario in, I was so happy because Wario is so cool, and I was just like, they're really doing it. But also, I saw Meta Knight was coming in. I was a big Kirby fan, and I fought Meta Knight many times in Kirby Superstar, and I didn't even think that was possible, for some reason. I thought, like, that could never happen. Like, my mind was just utterly exploding back when Brawl was announced. And so I want to talk about a third-party character that doesn't quite make sense to me, but everyone else really wants for some reason. And I'm not talking about Sans from Undertale. That's not going to happen. And I'll say why right here. Sans from Undertale is not going to happen because every third party character is the main character from their game. They've never done it to where it's like a weird side character from the game first and then the main character later. Sakurai has said that he doesn't want to overrepresent third party characters because it's not their guests. This is still a Nintendo game. They're guests in a Nintendo house. You know what I'm saying? So he's not gonna overrepresent them. That's like people really wanted to see Proto Man, and like, well, you got Proto Man, but you got him in as the final Smash for Mega Man. Like, you're not gonna get to play as Proto Man. And it's funny because Proto Man could easily just be one character like costume. It doesn't even have to be his own, like an Echo Fighter or anything. They could just make a character costume, and that's one costume that's Proto Man, and people would fucking freak out. But that's not what's going to happen. They're not doing that. It's like people were like, wouldn't it be cool if Miss Pac-Man was a costume for Pac-Man? It's like they're not going to do that. They didn't even put in colors for Kin for Ryu. Like, I thought for sure there'd be a colors for Ryu that would give him red clothes and yellow hair, because in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think they did that for him. And also in another game, I think they did that for Ryu as well. Like, sometimes in crossover games, Ryu has clothes to make him look like Kin. And they didn't do that here. And so let's talk about third-party characters real quick. But before we talk about third-party characters, we're going to have to actually talk about... well, first of all, Sans won't be in the game because the human has an actual name. But the human from Undertale, he's not going to be in the game. So Sans won't be in the game for that reason. Anyway, and it's stupid. Now, if there was an Undertale assist trophy and an Undertale stage, I think that would be fucking amazing. But I don't see it happening. Though that would be fucking amazing. But I don't think Undertale needs to be playable in the game. That's too much. They would have to make too much of an original moveset. It just doesn't make any sense. So, let's talk about why Smash works as a way to sell games if you're a Nintendo fan. So, when 64 came out, I had heard nothing about Smash. I remember seeing a commercial for Super Smash Bros. After I had already rented it. And when I rented it, I didn't know. I looked at the cover of the box, and even as a little kid, I thought this was a bootleg game. I thought this was a parody game. Like, I thought something was wrong. I knew, because I had played bootleg games on the NES before, and I remember like the Pac-Man art being all wrong and not like how it's supposed to be. Because like there's a famous Pac-Man bootleg on NES that everyone played. Like, I knew multiple people who had that bootleg of Pac-Man. It's kind of funny. But my mom had bought like 2 bootleg Pac-Man games before I was even born. So, but yeah. So when I saw the cover art for Smash 64, I really thought it was a bootlegged game, because the art was like this weird cartoon style that was like, this is not like every other game on 64 has like 3D renders of what the characters kind of look like, but like better than what they actually look like. But like, they don't do like this weird cartoon style in like any of these games. They always have like the 3D style. So I was really like shocked, and I was looking at the back of the game, and it had like side-scrolling elements, and I didn't even know it was a fighting game. I didn't know what the hell this was. I just rented the game because I was like, well, it has Mario, Pikachu, Kirby, and Link in it, and I like those guys. So we just rented the game, and I remember just being like blown away, and like I knew I liked Link the best from day one, and Link's still my main to this day. Like I was like in first grade or second grade or something, and I was so in love with the game. I could not stop playing it because I loved Street Fighter. I already loved fighting games thanks to Street Fighter, kind of because of Mortal Kombat 2, but mostly because of Street Fighter. And and I really liked all the Nintendo characters. And there's like a dream game. Like, and I was like, I still talk to my older brother. I was like, this game is like the most incredible, biggest game yet. It has all the different Nintendo characters in it. I'm pretty sure it's like a bootleg or a hack or something. And like my older brother was like, oh, this is Super Smash Bros. I'm surprised he rented this. And I was like, what? This is what? This is real? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and he's like, see how Jigglypuff's unlocked? You can unlock Luigi. And I was like, what? You can be Luigi? So like, so the whole point of what I'm trying to say is that like, I knew every character from that game aside from two characters. I didn't know who Samus was, and I didn't know who Ness was. Because I was like in second grade when this game came out, and I was not. My older brother read all the Nintendo Power stuff. I didn't read Nintendo Power. I had some hand me down magazines, but I didn't really read Nintendo Power. My older brother knew like every character thanks to Nintendo Power. But so I knew who Star Fox was because we had Star Fox. I knew who Kirby was because I had a cousin who had Kirby on NES, and I had a different cousin who had Kirby Superstar on Super Nintendo. So I played that. Obviously I knew who Pokemon were. I had my own copy of Pokemon Yellow. I knew who Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Link. I knew those guys. I had those games too. I had Link to the Past, and I played the original Zelda as well. So like I knew everyone but two guys. And the thing is, when you see Samus, you think, oh, that guy looks cool. And it makes you want to play Metroid. Because it's like the first thing I did. There's like a little history thing for each character in the game that says what they're all, like, what it names 3 games they're from. And I was like, oh, Metroid. Oh, okay. I have no idea what that is. But then I could look up Metroid. And my older brother told me more about Metroid. He told me Samus was actually a woman. Yes, I know Samus is a girl. And so, like, it made me more interested. And then when the opportunity came to play Super Metroid, I was really excited to play Super Metroid because I wanted to know more about Samus. And it also made me more interested in playing Earthbound because I wanted to learn more about Ness. And when Melee came out, more characters came out, and I think for a lot of Americans, I think at that point we knew most of the characters thanks to Smash 64. But I didn't know who Falco was, even though I had played Star Fox on Super Nintendo. I never played Star Fox 64. So when I played Star Fox and Star Fox 64, and when I saw Falco, I was like, "That's Falco!" It really made me appreciate more things about Star Fox. It made me care more about the universe of Star Fox, which is kind of a universe that might not have been as popular if it wasn't for a game like Smash. It made me care more about other things too, and like Zelda, because I played Ocarina of Time, but I never beat it when I was a kid. I kind of hated the menu system. I beat Ocarina of Time on 3DS, guys. I didn't play it until like for a long time because I really didn't like it at the time. It was so slow, and you have to understand that I already had a PS1, and I was playing games like Final Fantasy VII and Crash Bandicoot and Metal Gear Solid 1, and I was like, these games are fucking great. And then when I played Legend of Zelda on 64, I was like, this game runs like ass. And it's slow as fuck. It doesn't have a very good UI. It's kind of shitty, and the controls are fucked. Like, I had PS1, and I was kind of spoiled by PS1. I was definitely becoming a bit of a Sony fanboy. And like that was kind of when on PS1 was the reason I was like, oh, Nintendo is not as cool as I thought they were. Is what I mainly got when in 64 and PS1 were both a thing. But I will say, when Paper Mario came out and when Mario Tennis came out, I was so glued to my N64, and I always was still playing Smash 64 forever. So don't get me wrong, guys. But my point is that I didn't play a lot of Zelda games because I didn't really like the 3D ones. I liked the 2D ones on Super Nintendo. The 3D ones kind of felt sluggish and weird, and I never really liked them. Though I always thought they were cool, and I watched my friend, one of my older brother had a friend who had like the game beaten, and we came over and we watched him beat the final boss for us because he wanted to show us like how cool the final boss is. So like all I knew about Zelda was like the final boss. I knew that when Link grabs the Master Sword, he becomes older, which I thought that was really cool. And so I understood young Link, but it made me care more about Zelda and her powers. I didn't know a lot about Zelda's powers. It made me really more interested in Zelda, hearing all the music, seeing the levels, fighting Ganondorf as Link. That was really cool. So stuff like that made me care a lot more about Zelda. Um, I can't say like it made me care anymore about Mario because I already was a huge Mario fan at the time. But my point is that oh my god, and let's not forget Marth and Roy's inclusion. None of us fucking knew those guys. None of us fucking knew those guys, and so many of us played Fire Emblem thanks to Melee. Like Melee is the reason why Fire Emblem succeeded in America. It probably would not have succeeded in America if it wasn't for Melee. When Nintendo Power kind of stopped being a thing, it didn't matter because Smash Bros. Took over Nintendo Power's place, and it told us everything we needed to know about Nintendo and its history. It even introduced Mr. Game & Watch. And so Smash Bros. Really helped in telling this story of lore about Nintendo and why we should care about Nintendo so much. So I could talk about Brawl and Smash 4 and all that stuff and how they made me care more about Smash. Like, I mean, playing as Wolf, because I liked Wolf more than Fox and Falco, whenever I would encounter Wolf in Star Fox 64 or Star Fox Zero, I would always get really excited to fight Wolf. I was like, yeah, this is my rival. I gotta beat him. Because I play as Wolf in Brawl sometimes. So, I gotta fucking, I like Wolf a lot. Wolf is one of my favorite Star Fox characters, and it's probably just because of Brawl. But let's go back to let's talk about third parties now. And I know that was a long tangent, but that's all part of what I'm trying to say here. Smash Bros. Serves a purpose of not just celebrating Nintendo, but helping people fall in love with the Nintendo franchises and making people more interested in different things involving Nintendo. Okay? And for mostly every character, I can point to those characters and say, this is why they're in the game. And it's not because someone's hot at the moment. When DDD and Meta Knight were added into Brawl, neither one of them were a part of Kirby 64. Well, DDD was a part of 64, but not in a very major way. He's actually one of Kirby's allies, and you don't really do much with DDD in Kirby 64. How Meta Knight and DDD fit in is more because they're important to the lore of Kirby in general. Why was Diddy Kong added to Smash Brawl? It wasn't really because Diddy Kong. There was a recent game with Diddy Kong in it that really deserved to have Diddy Kong in the game. Really, it was just because Diddy Kong's important to the Donkey Kong lore, and he was a perfect character. I think they actually wanted to put him in Melee, but for some reason they couldn't do it. And I'm kind of glad they waited to put Diddy Kong in Brawl. Diddy Kong's funny because a lot of his moves remind me of Fox's because he has a gun and he has a jetpack, but they work so differently. But his moveset is directly based off of Donkey Kong Country 64, which is kind of insane because... and now those elements from Donkey Kong Country 64 are in Donkey Kong Country Returns, and it's probably just because they're in Smash. Because Diddy Kong didn't have a jetpack or a gun in his own game, and Diddy Kong has his own games, Diddy Kong's not like this always Donkey Kong sidekick. He's kind of like Yoshi in the fact that he has his own games. Just like Yoshi, Diddy Kong's the star of Donkey Kong Country 2, just like how Yoshi's the star of Super Mario World 2. That's just kind of how it is. So Diddy Kong being in the game, made sense. A lot of these characters make sense. It's not because they were hot at the moment. It's not because a game just came out and they were in it. It's because they're really important to the lore of Nintendo, and that these are characters that should be celebrated. These are characters that really definitely matter more so than other characters. So then you have the third-party characters, which happened in Brawl. Sonic and Snake. But it's not just about them. Let's also talk about the third-party characters in general. All the characters from 4 as well. And I'm going to keep talking about Snake because Snake is going to be an ultimate. So to me, all these third-party characters, they're all an ultimate. We should just talk about them. So Sonic was already a character that everyone really wanted to see because it's Mario versus Sonic. And it's such a crazy idea. They were the rivals back in the 90s. If you were there, you were there. You know exactly why this is important and exciting. It's not just because Sonic was hot at the moment, because in fact, Sonic was actually not hot at the moment at all. Sonic was pretty much hated. A lot of the content from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, they feature Silver and Shadow in the game, and they use songs from Sonic and the Secret Rings, I think, or Sonic. Yeah, I think Secret Rings came out first because Sonic 06 just came out. And like this is like these are like two of the worst Sonic games ever made, man. Like these are not games that people like. And so Sonic was in the game though. Here he is. He's in the game. So, and but that's the thing is people just were happy to see him. It had nothing to do with what was going on at the time. It had more to do with his significance to the video game world and how he indirectly influenced Mario by being his rival and pushing Mario games to be better. Mario and Nintendo games had to always be better than Sonic games. And so having those rivals square off together in Smash is really exciting and cool. As far as Snake being in the game, some people might say Snake didn't really fit in Brawl. I would definitely argue against that. I think that's really stupid. I think some people think Snake is like a Splinter Cell spy hitman video game character, and he's not. Snake is definitely a fucking bizarre character. Snake is Metal Gear Solid is full of weird Japanese humor that doesn't exactly translate that well here in America. But here's what you need to know about Metal Gear Solid. It's a game where you infiltrate a base with no weapons, and you have to stop a giant fucking robot with a nuclear device on its arm. But what's stopping you is like a cyborg ninja with a sword and can turn invisible. And also, there's this guy with a bunch of revolvers. So he spins them around like a cowboy. And then and then your brother, who just like at the very end of the game, you take your shirts off and just start punching each other. You do a big fist fight on top of the broken Metal Gear. And then like the sequels are like not that much better. There's like a guy on rollerblades who lays bombs down. Like this sounds like this sounds like a video game. This does not sound like a realistic movie game. Okay, the presentation and the cinematography was very like a movie. That Kojima had an amazing vision to make video games more like movies, more cinematic. Think like Uncharted and Last of Us. Metal Gear Solid was kind of doing the same thing back in the day in the PS1 days, and it was the first game I played that had full voiceovers for like every fucking character and every scene. I was used to playing Mega Man Legends and Final Fantasy VII, where, and at least in Mega Man Legends there were some voiceovers, but in like Final Fantasy and most of Mega Man, there was a lot of just dialogue you read. So this was like mind blowing to have all those voiceovers in Metal Gear Solid, and there was a lot of cutscenes. It told a fucking story, man. So to me, Snake made perfect sense to be in the game. But let's talk about what they do. What is their purpose here? Why this is significant to Smash. So with the Nintendo characters, we've already established that they are a celebration of everything Nintendo. They build up other games' lore, not just because, the past games. Smash also, while it celebrates the past games, a lot of things that are in Smash are later reminded in or implemented in future games. For example, in Fire Emblem Fates, you could use any amiibo from Smash 4 that was a Fire Emblem character, and they would appear in the game. So you could get Marth, Lucina, Robin, Ike, and Roy all to appear in Fire Emblem Fates as a partner that you could just have at all times. And it's kind of like it's just kind of there to be like, yeah, I mean, this is just kind of in the game because Smash, Kirby, oh god, Kirby, of course, like, DDD and Meta Knight became playable characters, and Kirby Return to Dreamland. But not only that, but in Kirby Amazing Mirror, you could fight the Master Hand from Smash, and if you ate his body after you beat him, you would get Smash Power, and it would make Kirby fight like how he does in Smash Bros. And Kirby's sword ability and Kirby's hammer ability were like based off of how Smash works too. Like if you hit up B with the sword, he would do the up slash with the beam coming out like in Smash Bros. So like things that happen in Smash influence other games in the future. So it's not like and there's also a rumor that Ridley's a little bit smaller in Metroid Samus Returns on 3DS. Or I think that's what the game's called. I don't remember. It's just like the Metroid game on 3DS that everyone really wanted. Um, Apparently Ridley's smaller in that game, and some people are saying maybe it's because they wanted her to be in Smash. But like, my point is that like, people like things that happen in Smash influence everything else. So it's not just the fact that characters are advertising to get people to play the old games, or it's also advertising to get people to play the new games as well. And so that's why they do what they do. That's why it's not just about celebrating what's hot right now. That's what something people forget this so much. People keep forgetting this, and then when they make their predictions, they make these predictions that like, oh, Crash Bandicoot will be in the game because the Insane Trilogy is really popular right now. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't really benefit Nintendo, and also Crash Bandicoot isn't really that relevant. It's not as relevant as people think he is. He's owned by Activision now, and Crash Bandicoot's probably going to be irrelevant in a little bit. And he wasn't really that big of a rival. Like, yes, Crash Bandicoot was a platformer and a mascot character, but he's not like a rival to Mario at any capacity at all. The reason why people bought PS1 was because of Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid 1. And Cloud and Snake are in Smash. That's kind of like what you need to know about what I'm saying here. Like, the biggest games on PS1 were games involving Cloud and Snake. They had nothing to do with Crash Bandicoot. That was a game that people who owned PS1 played for fun, just because they had the opportunity. But the people who owned PS1s, like, they bought it for Final Fantasy. They bought it for Metal Gear. That's why people bought PS1s. So, it had nothing to do with that. And so what the thing with third party characters is that for the most part, if you play Smash, you know who Sonic is. Because Sonic has been a big important character for a long time. Sonic is the most important character when it comes to being a rival to Mario. Because Mario and Sonic had to prove themselves against each other. So you know exactly who Sonic is, but now you get to live your dream matchup of making Mario fight Sonic. Same thing with Snake. Most people know just exactly what the fuck Metal Gear Solid is. Metal Gear Solid is such a popular franchise. Yes, it has a big cult following, and not everyone's played it. But I have to say, if you play Snake in Brawl, that's probably not going to make you want to go out and play Metal Gear Solid. It's really what that's there for is just to make the fans of Metal Gear Solid come and play Smash. You see what I'm saying here? The people who play Sonic are already playing Sonic, but they might play Smash now because Sonic's in Smash now. Whereas if you played a Nintendo game, like let's say you played Pikmin, and you really liked Olimar a lot because you really liked Pikmin, so you never played Smash because Pikmin wasn't in Smash. You couldn't play as Olimar in Smash. But then when Brawl came out, Olimar was in Smash, and then you played Brawl because of Olimar. Like, I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. To me, it's like if you already are playing games on the console, then you're probably going to play Smash anyway. Like, you're not gonna that's all I'm saying. But whereas like people who see Olimar in Brawl are gonna be excited and happy that they can finally play as Olimar in Brawl. Don't get me wrong, but they probably already played Smash. Whereas people who've never played Smash before, who maybe have played Metal Gear Solid and played Sonic the Hedgehog, they're going to seek out a Wii and buy Brawl because they want to play as Sonic and they want to play as Snake. And then it works the same way. I know a lot of people who didn't really give a shit about Smash until Cloud was announced. And then they're like, I just want to play it. And they're like, if I ever get to play it, I'm going to play as Cloud. And that would be so cool to play it. I watch all these videos on Cloud. It makes me more. And then like these people start learning more about the game just from watching videos of Cloud, And there's a thing where it's like, if Nintendo releases, more games with a third-party character in it, I might buy the console and play those games. So there's a real incentive to put characters like Mega Man, Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta. Bayonetta is like the only third-party character they added in. That's like, okay, if you didn't play Bayonetta and you play as Bayonetta in Smash 4, you might actually be more interested in playing Bayonetta because Bayonetta is such a low underground game. And it makes even more sense because Bayonetta's games are always on Nintendo. So like, Bayonetta is like the one Nintendo character where like this is advertising you to play this game again, but the third-party characters don't really fulfill that same role as the first-party characters. The third-party characters are to bring people in. They're trying to make people come in and play, buy a Switch and play Smash. So here's the biggest fucking reason why Banjo-Kazooie is stupid to be in Smash. Not stupid for the fans to want. The fans wanting Banjo-Kazooie, that makes sense. But the reasoning for putting him in the game, the justification, remember 30 minutes ago when this video started, I was talking about how fans make weird justifications to try to put characters into the game? The justification for Banjo-Kazooie makes no sense. The other third-party characters are exactly that. Third-party characters. Now, we could start calling them guest characters. But for me, I would say a good guest character would be a character that helps Nintendo in some way as well. Now, you can say what you want about Snake and Cloud being Sony characters, quote-unquote, but both Snake and Cloud have appeared on Nintendo consoles. And not only that, but when it comes to the olden days, Final Fantasy, maybe not Final Fantasy VII, but the mainline Final Fantasy games appear on Nintendo consoles time and time again. Snake, I would argue, yes, while a new sequel never came out on Nintendo console the same time as other new games in his lineup, the remake of Metal Gear Solid 1, which is Metal Gear Solid Twin Snake, is so good on GameCube. It doesn't replace the original, but it's different enough to warrant a playthrough of both versions of Metal Gear Solid 1 on PS1 and Metal Gear Solid Twin Snake on GameCube. Both versions are great, and I honestly say you should play both versions. And one game, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snake, that is only available on the GameCube. And at the time when Smash Brawl came out, Snake was on a GameCube game that was exclusive to GameCube, and then they put him in Smash. So to me, it's like, well, you could buy Twin Snake and play it on your Wii, for crying out loud. Maybe now it's a harder argument to make, but my point is that Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy have been a part of Nintendo's life at different times. You know, it's not as if they're really Sony characters, especially because they're not first party. Sony does not own Square Enix. Sony does not own Konami. Konami and Square Enix can do their own fucking thing. So this has nothing to do with Sony. This is all to do with Nintendo and their relationship with those third-party companies. And building a good relationship, and maybe if putting these characters in Smash does really well, well, maybe more characters, or maybe more games from those franchises starring those characters will appear on Nintendo platforms. And of course, like on 3DS, there was a home for both Metal Gear Solid and for Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy. So my point is that these serve a great purpose for Nintendo. They get people who may not have played a Nintendo platform will go out and buy one to play as these characters in Smash. Because they'll say, wow, Snake is in Smash, that's fucking exciting. I mostly play PlayStation, but I kind of have enough money to buy a Wii on the side, and I kind of want to buy a Wii and play Smash Bros. Brawl. Or, you know, oh man, Snake is in Smash 4. Like, I was thinking about buying a Wii U because the Wii U and the PlayStation 4 have both been out for a while now. And, like, you know, I might as well just buy a Wii U at this point, and maybe I'll just play Smash 4. You know, that's the only game I want to play anyway, and I kind of want to play Mario Kart and stuff. So I'll buy a Wii U and play Smash 4, play Cloud, you know? So it makes sense, you know? These things get people to play Smash, and if Nintendo can get you to play Smash, they will get you more interested in other Nintendo properties, and they'll make you love the Nintendo lore, just like that. Same how Kingdom Hearts uses Cloud to get people to learn about Disney, Smash uses Cloud to get PlayStation fans and Final Fantasy fans to play Smash Bros. That's the point, right? So, the only character that doesn't do this is Bayonetta, but it doesn't matter because Bayonetta is exclusively on Nintendo at this point. So, like, for them to advertise Bayonetta so hardcore is actually perfectly aligned with Nintendo's priorities to sell Switches. But here's the thing. Here's the problem with Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie would be fine to put in. In fact, it would be perfect to put in if Rare was a third-party company or if Nintendo never sold them. But because they did, because Xbox owns, or Microsoft owns Rare, there are no Banjo-Kazooie games on Xbox besides, like, Nuts and Bolts, which is a pretty much universally hated game. Nobody likes Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. And then they never really made a true next Banjo game. Instead, Rare has been doing weird things like there's like a Conquer, there's like a weird version of Conquer that's coming out, but it's like a part of this like Project Spark or whatever. Like there's like weird shit going on with Rare, where they're not exactly making the games that people want, and more people turn to Ukulele and say, well, Ukulele is like really like the next Rare game, like Ukulele is the actual next Rare game, and this has nothing to do with no one cares about Banjo Kazooie anymore. People want Banjo Kazooie in, but the problem is that Nintendo would have to pay Microsoft to get Banjo in the game. They'd have to do everything Microsoft wants them to do. And don't get me wrong, like let's remember here, this would be the first party character, the first party character in Smash Bros. That's not Nintendo. This would be the first guest character that's a first party character that deliberately is from another console, not a quote unquote Sony character like Snake and Cloud, but a real first party character from Microsoft in Smash Bros. Brawl, okay? Or in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm talking about Brawl so much. Ultimate. If they do this, they have to like do everything Microsoft says to allow them to have Banjo. They have to, work tirelessly, jump through hoops, do this fucking bullshit just to appease Microsoft. And get this. Who does this fucking benefit? Microsoft? Yes. Who does it not benefit? Nintendo. This does nothing to help Nintendo at all. Because the fans of Banjo-Kazooie are the fucking fans of N64 games. The fans of Banjo-Kazooie probably already own a Switch. They probably bought Ukulele, and they didn't necessarily buy Ukulele on an Xbox. They probably bought it on one of the other fucking things you can buy Ukulele on. People who are fans of Banjo-Kazooie don't necessarily own Xbox. Because Xbox, there is no Banjo-Kazooie game on Xbox One. And there was one Banjo-Kazooie game on 360. Yes, there is HD remakes of Banjo-Kazooie 1 and 2. And they're part of the Rare Replay. But that doesn't mean shit. Because you can still just play Banjo-Kazooie 1 and 2 on 64. So these are just the 64 games on the Xbox. Meaning that this is convenient for people who are fans of Banjo and have an Xbox. Especially because the 360 was so popular. And a lot of people had a 360. But the Switch is almost outselling the Xbox One. They're actually getting pretty close. They're actually getting there to that neck and neck category. And the Switch has been out a lot less time than the Xbox One. If they put Banjo-Kazooie on in Smash, all this does is generate buzz and hype for Banjo-Kazooie. And then it makes people, when Microsoft does make another Banjo-Kazooie game and it's exclusive to Xbox, then what are people going to do? They're going to want to buy Xbox. And this hype and buzz and reevaluated love for Banjo and all this nostalgia coming back to people for Banjo-Kazooie will be because of Smash. Nintendo will be directly helping the competition. Nintendo will be directly helping people come to the conclusion that they should buy an Xbox One and buy more games on Xbox. And you know what they don't do is they don't get all the people who like Gears of War. They don't get all the people who like Halo. They don't get all the people who like Forza. They don't get any of the people who like Xbox to come over and buy a Switch. Because those motherfuckers don't give a shit about Banjo-Kazooie. They don't give a fuck about Banjo-Kazooie. Now, the rumor is that Minecraft will appear in Smash alongside Snake and Simon Belmont. We have Snake confirmed for Smash Ultimate. However, this doesn't exactly confirm that rumor just because Snake was announced. Mainly because Snake is part of the entire cast of Smash, and they made a point of saying they're bringing every character back. Now, Simon Belmont fits into that category of characters who could actually potentially work. And when you think about it, there's two Sega characters with Sonic and with Bayonetta. There's two, even though Bayonetta is kind of like half Nintendo. There's two Capcom characters with Mega Man and Ryu. Now, I'm I'm not saying every company should get two characters. Like Namco doesn't need another character, Square Enix doesn't need another character. But I don't see why they can't have two Konami characters, especially when Simon Belmont is so important to gaming history, the lore of gaming, and with the idea that Simon Belmont in Castlevania games might appear on the Switch in the future, especially if Simon Belmont is popular in Smash, because remember, Smash decides some of the future of gaming, because it makes characters popular and relevant again, right? So, putting Simon Belmont in the game actually makes a lot of sense. And if that's true, then the rumor for Minecraft being in the game will be even more true. But the thing is, if this is a rumor, the rumor was Snake, Simon Belmont, and Minecraft all being in the game, and then not having Banjo Kazooie a part of that rumor, that's bizarre to me. That doesn't make sense to me. But we do know that Nintendo and Microsoft have at least come to pretty solid terms because Minecraft is on the Switch. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of games like Rocket League and Fortnite and I believe Minecraft as well, where the Switch version actually it lets you play with versions on other consoles, on like Xbox. And PlayStation keeps opting not to do these things. So, yeah, I think that there is some communication there between Nintendo and Microsoft, right? So I think they are kind of willing to jump through the hoops to put Minecraft in the game because here's the thing. Putting Minecraft in Smash will actually get people who play Minecraft to play Smash Bros. On Switch. Also because Minecraft is on the Switch, or at least it's coming out on the Switch, and it's coming out on the Switch a hell of a lot more before Minecraft does. Which is probably why they didn't reveal that Minecraft has any inclusion with Smash Bros. At this E3, because it's not on Switch yet, we just know it's coming. So, it makes a lot of sense, because people play Minecraft on phone, on tablet, and they also play it on Xbox and PC. People play Minecraft all over the board, and Nintendo wants people to play Minecraft on Switch. So, putting Minecraft in Smash, even though I kind of don't really want it, it's hard to argue that Minecraft's relevance in gaming. And so even though I don't really want that, it's only one stage. People who really hate Minecraft and think it's a big meme game can turn it off. I'll probably leave it on just to torture my friends. But at the end of the day, it still makes perfect total sense for Minecraft to be in the game, for Simon Belmont to be in the game. But for Banjo-Kazooie, I don't see how Banjo and Kazooie will bring over any Xbox fans to play it. And what it will actually only really do is please old Nintendo fans who probably already own a Switch, who probably already are playing Smash. Because if you like Rare, and you like N64 Rare, then you probably like N64, you know? So, yes, while it would be great to see Banjo and Smash, I feel like the only way we would see Banjo and Smash is if Xbox sold Banjo to Nintendo, and I don't think Microsoft will ever sell Rare or even just Banjo, because it's too valuable. It would do too much of a disservice. It would help Nintendo too much, and they could still make a new Banjo-Kazooie game. They have to know that people want this, right? And they have to know this. You know, they have to know these things. So I think it could happen. But as of right now, it's not going to happen, but it could happen, especially with Crash Bandicoot becoming relevant again, Spyro becoming relevant again. Microsoft, if they're smart, they should be working on a new 3D platformer for Banjo and call it Banjo 3. That's what they should do. That's what they should do. That's all I'm saying. But my point is that if they Banjo and Kazooie being in Smash, we already know that the president of Microsoft, at least of Xbox Gaming, whatever, he said on Twitter, way back during the Smash ballot, that he would be happy to let Banjo be in Smash. And when it didn't happen, it was like, okay, even back then I was kind of like, I don't know, it could happen. Anything could happen at this point, honestly. After Cloud being in Smash, I felt like anything was possible. Um, then when it came to when Smash was first announced, when they first showed off the Inkling for Smash Ultimate, back when it didn't have a subtitle, it was just Super Smash Bros. Um, People were like, "Will Goku and Banjo be in the game?" And the reason why I was like, they won't be is because Funimation made multiple tweets about Goku, and the director or like the leader of Microsoft, whatever, the president of the gaming of Xbox. He's not the president of Microsoft in general. He's just in charge of Xbox in the gaming division. He said in a tweet again he would still be happy to negotiate Banjo, meaning that he has not been negotiated as of the point of that game being announced. We haven't seen him yet, which doesn't mean much because Ridley was such a big deal that revealing Ridley at E3, that's already huge. So it's not like they needed a third-party character, right? They don't have to do that just yet. The fact they have Snake back is already a third-party character, and that's already a big deal. Even though this is, a character we've had before, getting him back, people thought wouldn't happen because he wasn't in Smash 4. So now we're going to see, we're probably going to get another third-party character, and that's probably going to be the next one they announce. But what I'm trying to say here is that the likelihood of them announcing Banjo, that would mean he's probably a late addition to the game since they apparently were still willing to negotiate it. I feel like if Banjo was already planned to be in the game at this point, the Microsoft people would not be talking about putting him in Smash. They would be keeping quiet. But they're not keeping quiet. They're talking about it. So I think your best bet is DLC. I don't think that Banjo and Kazooie are 0% chance going to be in the game. I think they still have that opportunity. But the idea that they're like, it's like makes sense, or that's necessary, or that this is perfect idea, all of this is nonsense. And while yes, Banjo and Kazooie, if as long as they play together, which I mean, why wouldn't they? That's how they play in their games. As long as Banjo and Kazooie play together, then they already have a moveset. And I'm not just talking about their special attacks, but even their tilts and their dashes, their airs, their smash attacks. They're basically already made. Just playing Banjo-Kazooie 1, you can make an entire moveset for Smash just with that alone. It's really easy. Not a problem at all, actually. Super easy to do. However, what you would get if you did that would be kind of a generic, boring character. Kind of like if they put Crash in the game. He has a few moves here and there, and that would be it. Like, he wouldn't be anything special. He wouldn't be a character to write home about. Unless he had really wonky physics or like some insane super recovery or something really crazy like that. Or he is like a hybrid character of like, he's Mario, he plays like Mario, but he also can like basically fly. He has like 4 jumps like Kirby or something. Unless he's something weird like that, it wasn't really, there's nothing really there to make me be excited about this character other than the fact that it's Banjo. With Sonic has a very unique playstyle. He's super fast. He has the homing attack and spin dash. And, so, like, it made sense. Snake is kind of unique because he has all explosive moves. His whole moveset is based around being sneaky and planting bombs and stuff. But he also does have that CQC ability that Snake should have. So, like, Snake is, like, an interesting, unique character. Cloud has the limit, if it wasn't for the limit, then Cloud would have probably been a boring character. He probably just would have been another decently good sword character. Even Corrin had to bring something new to the table, and I feel like Corrin did with a really crazy charge projectile move that is kind of like nothing like, it's really nothing like anything else in the game. It's kind of like Zero Suit Samus and normal Samus' charge shots combined into one. Plus there's like a weird after hit. Not only that, but his forward B is crazy weird. So yeah, and then of course, Bayonetta, oh my god, she's like broken as fuck. But at the end of the day, her up special is like crazy looking. Her witch time is like, it's just super unique just to her. So like and like all her smashes are like crazy unique just to her. So here's what I'm saying, like, A lot of these characters. Oh, and don't forget Ryu. Ryu could fucking you can do the Street Fighter inputs and it fucking works, and they're stronger if you do them right. Like that's already crazy enough. So like that's what I'm saying, man. Like, oh, and Ryu has two smashes. Jesus Christ. So it's like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, these characters are all really unique. You know, most of the newcomers in Smash 4 all play very, very unique. So that's kind of what we get here. Like, a lot of newcomer characters, they kind of have to bring something new to the table, or else they're just kind of boring. They're just kind of there. And with Simon Belmont, I truly believe you could do something really special with him, mainly because he fights with a long range whip. So that means he doesn't need to be fast. His movement could be kind of slow, kind of like how it actually is in Castlevania. And his special moves could just be all these different attacks with, with his all of his different item attacks, whereas we use your up A attacks or whatever. So then it's like he makes a ton of sense. Like Xenoblade characters make a ton of sense. But if you put Banjo in the game, because he already has a move set, and because it's kind of like a generic, boring one that like wouldn't be that different from certain other characters, it kind of makes me think like unless they can come up with an interesting gimmick like how they did for Pac-Man, I really don't see what warrants him being in this game. I really don't see why they need to go through so much trouble and benefit Microsoft and shoot themselves in the foot so much. Because here's the thing, guys. If you're a fan of Banjo and you play Switch, you're not going to, it's like, okay, you're going to play Smash anyway, right? Because you don't care. You've been playing all the Smash games. You just play Smash and you're like, I kind of wish Banjo was in it. You're not going to like boycott Smash Ultimate just because Banjo's not in it. So there's really no incentive for them. It would just be to just make people like kind of happier, but there's really no incentive for them to do all that. Like the cons outweigh the pros tenfold. There's so much con and not very much pro at all. Because like I said, everyone's going to play the game anyway. And that's the thing with third-party characters. This is why they have to be super important to gaming history. It's not that they're hot at the moment. It's not that they're relevant. It's that how they are important to gaming history. Because if Pac-Man was definitely not fucking relevant at the time, and neither was Mega Man. Oh my god, of course Mega Man was not relevant at all. But the fact that they are so important and people love these characters so much, that's what drives people to go and play Smash. That's what drives people to want to use Mega Man in Smash, because Mega Man's their favorite fucking video game character. Banjo is no one's favorite video game character. People say this. People okay, I can't say he's no one's favorite video game character. Obviously, he's some people's favorite video game character. But he's not the character that people, think about constantly and worship. They just say, Banjo-Kazooie is a really fucking good game. It's my favorite game of all time. But that doesn't mean necessarily that Banjo needs to be in Smash or that he's that important, needs to be represented. Just because he has a very, very good 2 games on the N64, that doesn't mean anything. And I would argue that I still prefer Mario 64, even though that game's a little clunkier, doesn't play as well. But there's certain elements of Mario 64 that I really enjoy. And, Banjo-Kazooie is not a bad game at all. I like that game. I'm not that into 3D platformers, but I think it's probably one of the best N64 games. It's probably Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Those are 2 very good games. I think they're 2 of Rare's best games. I've played a lot of Rare's other games, like Jet Force Gemini and and other shit on the N64, and I gotta say that Rare, to me, is a little overrated. I don't even really like Donkey Kong Country 64 that much. I think that game's kind of broken. I think it's it's very tedious, and I don't like tedious games, and the N64 is full of tedious games. And I think Rare's best work is probably Banjo-Kazooie, no question. I didn't even bring up Conquer, and that's because there's no need to. Banjo-Kazooie, no question. So yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like just because he's in a good game. He only had 2 games. He doesn't really have much of a franchise. He's not a really well fleshed out character. He's not someone that people would normally idolize behind. In fact, I think that even people who would say that Banjo-Kazooie is their favorite game of all time, if they are being realistic and you ask them what are some of the most important video game mascots in your life, they would probably mention Mario, Mega Man, Sonic, and characters like that. They would not mention Banjo. Banjo is just not that important. He never really was. He was always like this weird character that just kind of existed that people are like, okay, this is a character on, you can play this on N64, and you have one, so you should. You know, it was just like this weird bonus game that you got because you had an N64 and you played platformers, you know, and yeah, I mean, so I don't know what else to say here. Like, he just doesn't make any sense for me to be in this game. Like, maybe if Rare, like I said, sold or Rare was sold back to Nintendo, or if Banjo exclusively was sold to Nintendo. But I honestly feel like while it could happen, it just doesn't make any sense, and it just doesn't benefit Nintendo in any way, in my opinion. So this video, I thought it was going to be short, but I wanted to explain a lot about Super Smash Bros. And the way it works in order to talk about Banjo-Kazooie. I keep seeing people who I like a lot even, talk about why they want Banjo-Kazooie and Waluigi and Smash. I think both this, I really hope neither one are in it. That not that I would hate it or anything, and actually I would be happy for the people who want those characters. I would be happy for them, but it's so stupid to campaign so hard for characters just because you kind of like them, and it's like they would work in Smash, but they wouldn't be interesting at all. They would just kind of be there, and no one would play as them. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, putting Waluigi in, he has almost no moveset, and you can't make him a clone of Luigi or Wario. It wouldn't make sense if he was a clone of Luigi, because he needs to be close to Wario because he's Wario's companion. But Wario's based solely off of WarioWare, so all of his moves only work for WarioWare. So none of his moves can work for Waluigi because Waluigi doesn't drive a motorcycle. The only thing that would work for Waluigi would be the biting and the farting. But like everything else, like, you know, it's like, what? Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense for Waluigi at all. So, you know, it, unless they like give Waluigi a different forward B where he uses like his tennis racket and just flies forward or something. They just, but again, it's like this is all Waluigi being a Mario character, and having him as a Mario character and not as a Wario character, you know, that really hurts. So if you want to be mad, don't get mad that Waluigi's in not in Smash because of Smash. Get mad at the people who make WarioWare for not putting Waluigi in WarioWare. They just won't do it. But the reason why they're not going to put Waluigi in WarioWare is because Waluigi's fucking from Mario Tennis. So it's people just love the Mario games so much, and they don't appreciate the Wario games or understand the focused message that Nintendo's trying to say with the lore of Nintendo, which Waluigi's not really a part of. Waluigi's always going to be in the spin-off Mario games, but he'll probably never be a main character in Smash. And you know, again, this is I also see a lot of people talk about Banjo-Kazooie, and I think it's just because they like the game a lot. And it's like, yeah, it's not a bad game, but it doesn't make sense for Nintendo to do this. You know, it wouldn't even if they put them in Smash, it would just be another character of fodder. Like, it would just be another fucking character. It wouldn't be anything interesting. Like, I think if they put Rex in from Xenoblade 2, that would actually be interesting. I think if they put in Decidueye, or possibly another Pokemon in general, almost any Pokemon has infinite potential to be a very interesting brand new character. I think Greninja proved that. You know, I think Greninja was shocking how much I liked him. I think Greninja was super fun, super unique, and brought a lot of things new to the table. And, you know, it's like, so if they put in Decidueye or maybe a different Pokemon, there's so much possibility there, especially with Decidueye, especially with Blaziken or anyone. It would make a ton of sense to put them in the game. But, you know, when you look at... Oh, and then, of course, Springman. Springman might be DLC, but, I mean, he makes a ton of sense. And you look at Shovel Knight, and you look at Simon Belmont. It's like both of them also make a ton of sense, could potentially play very uniquely, could potentially play like no one else. So, like, fuck, man. Like, how could you even talk about Banjo for a second? Like, who cares? Like, why do you want them so bad? Like, just because you like the game, but you're still going to play Smash. So it doesn't matter. There's no incentive to please you because you're going to play Smash anyway. So, I don't know, man. It just boggles my mind that people want Banjo so bad. And it's like... Smash doesn't have to validate your favorite video game characters. You can still enjoy these video game characters without Smash. I still like Waluigi when I play Mario Party, but I like him only because he's the most weird and obscure character in the fucking game. Like when I play Mario Party and I have the AI, I normally make Waluigi the AI just because he's a fucking weirdo. Like, like it's because I see Mario a lot in the other games. Just use Waluigi. We don't see him that much. When they put Waluigi in Smash, I guarantee you the love for Waluigi will not be the same. Like I guarantee you, no one will give a shit. The only people will care when it first happens, but it's not gonna like remain a thing. Okay, Waluigi's just this weird Mario character. It's the same reason they're not gonna put in any characters from like the Mario Luigi RPG. They're not gonna put any characters from like Paper Mario. They don't need to, you know. Some things should stay sacred. Some things should stay the way like some things should stay in their own worlds. Not everything needs to be in Smash, you know. And while I think it's really cool that every time Smash includes more, I think Ridley was a character that really should have been in Smash, especially when I first heard the argument that Olimar is supposed to be the size of an ant, and so it makes no sense that he's almost as big as Mario, and that Bowser's normally way bigger than Mario. And it kind of reminded me, it's like, oh yeah, the size should not matter, Ridley should be allowed. And I don't know, man. I guess it's because Bowser isn't that big in Mario Kart that they're like, yeah, let's make it happen. But and Olimar's not small when you play his game because the camera's right behind him and everyone's small in that game. So they've like made it make sense. But like to me, Ridley being in the game, I feel like I knew it wouldn't happen in Smash 4, but I feel like it made perfect sense. I understood. I thought Ridley should be in the game. I thought like it would be really cool to have more representation for Metroid, because when I think of other Metroid characters like Kraid, that probably wouldn't work. Who else wouldn't work? Like, there's a lot of characters from Metroid. Like Dark Samus would be boring and stupid. There's no point in that. So like, there should have been more Metroid representation, and Ridley is the best one to do it because that's pretty much Samus's rival that Samus fights the most. Some people want King K. Rool. If they can make King K. Rool interesting, like give him maybe cannons or something and make him like pretty cool, there is a potential there. But I don't really care about King K. Rool. I think people just kind of want them because I think people want these things because they want to feel validated for having good ideas. That's really why I think people want Ridley, King K. Rool, and a lot of things. I think they just want to feel fucking validated. I think they just want to have an idea and then have it come true and be like, yes, it was my idea. I did that. It's like, shut up. It's Ridley has a better case. Ridley probably had the best case for King K. Rool, Waluigi, and even Banjo. Ridley probably has the best case. And Ridley being in Smash is great. And I really do think the reason why we got Ridley is the same fucking reason why we got Daisy. Because once in Smash 4, to me, the fact that Shulk was in the game, I was like, wow, the floodgates are really open now. Like, anyone could be in the game if Shulk's in the game. Because, like, Shulk does not fucking matter. He is insignificant. But Nintendo's really pushing Xenoblade. And a big part of why they're pushing Xenoblade now is probably because Shulk's in Smash, and they know people will actually buy Shulk games or Xenoblade games, because Shulk was in Smash once. Therefore, people care about Xenoblade now. And I bet you Xenoblade 2 had pretty good fucking sales, and a big part of that is because of Super Smash Bros. And so it made sense to me that they put Shulk in. But then with the inclusion of Bowser Jr. and Rosalina, Bowser Jr., why is he even in the game? Don't get me wrong, I think he plays well, but there's a lot of fucking Mario characters already, and it's like, why Bowser Jr. of all the fucking characters, But Bowser Jr. still makes more sense than Waluigi and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like especially because Bowser Jr. is like the main villain of Mario Sunshine. But like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, like a lot of characters could potentially be in this game now. The floodgates have really been open thanks to characters like Shulk, Bayonetta, and Bowser Jr. Like, the floodgates are fucking open, guys. Anyone could be in the game. Also, Lucina, like Robin being in the game, I feel like it should have been one or the other, but they went with both, man. And I know Lucina's an Echo. That's the only reason why. Same with Palutena and Dark Pit. Like, again, and that's because Sakurai makes Kid Icarus. But it's like the floodgates are fucking open. At this point, I would not be shocked if I saw Bandana D. We're gonna start seeing in Smash Bros. We have all the A-list characters, and we have all the B-list characters, and we're about to start seeing the C-list characters because we already got some of them with Bowser Jr. and with Shulk. though at least Shulk has a franchise to promote. Bowser Jr. has no excuse. Okay, Rosalina barely has an excuse. Rosalina was hot, and now she's not really that hot anymore. She's just kind of a character in the Mario universe. She's basically about to be reduced to one of the side characters that's always in the Mario Party games and Mario sports games, because she's really not going to be that relevant to the Mario universe for much longer. So putting her in, that was to represent Mario Galaxy, because they didn't want Mario to have changes to represent Mario Galaxy. So the representation for Mario Galaxy is Rosalina. But like, you know, that's it's like these characters really are not that relevant anymore, and they really are B-list characters. And I really think Rosalina and Bowser Jr. are C-list characters, and I think that, yeah, C-listers are coming, and I think the reason why we're getting Daisy, who's also a C-lister, and Daisy also represents like Mario Kart and Mario Party games. The reason why we're getting these characters is because like we have all the biggest characters in the games already. Like we already have Falco, we already have Dr. Mario, we already have Wario, we already have like we have everyone who's a B-lister already. Like we have everyone who deserves. Like we have DDD and Meta Knight already. We have Diddy Kong already. We have everyone who deserves a role already. So when it comes to main Nintendo line, like I was trying to think of new Nintendo characters for the Smash ballot back in the Smash 4 days, and what I came to the conclusion of was that like I could only come up with third-party characters I wanted. I couldn't think of a single first-party character I wanted. And my friends were saying King K. Rool, King K. Rool, and some friends were saying Ridley, Ridley. And I was like, yeah, but why? Like, if you're going to introduce new Nintendo villains from the past, they might as well just be in the next Smash game. Same with the Inkling. Like, they might as well just be in the next Smash game. But, like, to make Inkling DLC for Smash 4, that's so blowing their load. But it's not even just that. Like, Corrin was the only one that made sense. I'm like, of all the Nintendo newcomers, I'm surprised it was Corrin. I didn't expect Corrin, and I knew people were going to be pissed off when it was Corrin. But that's because they really should not be blowing their load on DLC with Nintendo newcomers, guys. Third-party newcomers make the most sense when it comes to DLC. So, or at least in that case with Smash 4. Right now, I'm thinking King K. Rool, if he's not in the main game, I would really welcome him as DLC, because the rules for Smash Ultimate are a lot different from the rules of Smash 4. Because now I think the floodgates are definitely fucking open. We have Daisy, we have Ridley, we have unpopular characters, we have C-list characters. So we might see fucking Bandana D. We might see, very weird characters. I think Waluigi actually has a case now just because of Daisy, but probably won't be till the next Smash. And if they do it for the next Smash, it'll be just because they've literally ran out of fucking ideas. I feel like they're already at that point with Ridley. Like, they probably don't have much new ideas. And that's why when a lot of us are saying, like, new characters to put in Smash, we're having a hard time thinking of classic characters, because most of them are already in the game. I've come up with Excite Bike and Balloon Fight, but, like, I don't... my predictions for new characters are, like, the Xenoblade characters, Springman, like, that's what I'm predicting. And then besides that, it's, like, all third parties, man. Because, like, they've put in so many. And don't get me wrong, I'm so happy to see Daisy. That is such a cool thing for me. But, like, especially as a fan of Daisy, someone who likes Daisy more so than Peach and Rosalina. But, like, it's just nuts. Like, who can they add? They have everyone, man. So I'm still predicting, like, at least 5 more characters, and I can kind of think of some. But, like, we'll have to see what they do. I don't want to... Prediction videos... I made a video once saying prediction videos for Smash are very unreasonable because we had no inkling of what would happen. And now we do have an inkling of what might happen. So a lot of people's predictions are, especially since Waluigi's already been confirmed not a character. Not to say that a assist trophy can't become a DLC character. Little Mac was an assist trophy in Brawl. He became a main character. But we don't know. We just don't know everything about the game yet. So some predictions. This is probably the best time to make predictions for characters. And Ridley is already an indication the floodgates are open, and a lot more characters who we thought never would make it probably have a bigger chance than ever. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But uh, Banjo Kazooie is not gonna be a thing. So sorry, guys.